Exciting episode of Peace and Society. Please welcome my guest today, the autistic hypnotist, Lawrence Bailey. Damn it, Lawrence! I can't even get your name right, bro. this is already going to be a fun time. I can already feel it, bro. So, anyways, Lawrence, why don't you introduce you to everybody now that I'm done fumbling the intro?
All right. My name is Lawrence Bartley. I am the Autistic Hypnotist, and it's an absolute pleasure to be on your podcast, Pete.
Well, thank you so much, Lawrence. So, Lawrence, why don't you tell me a little more about why they call you that, though? I think it's a very interesting story. So, why don't you lay it on us, man?
So, I am an autistic individual. I have Asperger's syndrome, so that's why I'm known as the Autistic Hypnotist. And I basically became a hypnotist because I had anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety, depression, all sorts of those issues back during my teenage years. It's a very dark time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I ended up going to therapy, as most people do, for anxiety. And then eventually, then went to a hypnosis training instead because the therapy didn't really work for me. I spent several years in therapy. I didn't really get anything out of it. At the time, I was learning hypnosis, not for anxiety or depression. I was learning hypnosis as persuasion, sort of learning micro expressions, body language, how to read people better, because the autism makes it difficult to pick up social cues. So that's my solution to it. Go to a hypnosis training. I work with a professional hypnotist. About 20 minutes, anxiety disappears. And all that anxiety, tension, bad achy feelings that I had, just gone. They never affected me since. I kept going back to other hypnosis trainings and eventually became a hypnotist myself so I can help other autistic people who have anxiety.
Well, you know what I mean? You being autistic, though, makes it easier for you to, first off, relate to a lot of these people, because, you understand how they think a little better on a better level because most people forget that part is that a lot of you guys don't pick up on social cues and things like that. And you can't approach people that are autistic the same way you do an average person because everybody learns their own way, which, I think is the hard part for a lot of people to understand. Is like a lot of people are not willing to go that length to ask a lot of people, hey, listen, what's the better way to teach things to you? I'm just going to keep forcing it the same way. And it doesn't work that way because a lot of guys don't pick up on that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, I can't understand why so and so is not working out. Well, did you ask them what's the best way to approach them? No. Like, that is the scariest part of this whole thing. It's like people don't ask people, how can I better help you? Like, hey, listen, I understand, you're autistic or whatever you want to fill in the blanks with. You're neurodivergent in some way, but you don't ask them how it is the best way to help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't ask you guys, hey, listen, what's best for me to better approach these things to you? That way we can get the best success out of you. We just want to force feed things the way we always been told how to do it. And it's just not how it works. With the marketplace changing like that, more and more people getting into the workforce and things like that, the diversity of just different things that people are dealing with, it's so much easier just to ask the question directly to them. But, a lot of people are afraid to ask because it's like, well, I don't want to offend them. How are you going to offend somebody by asking them what they prefer to how they prefer to be given
Exactly.
information? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. For example, I had a client who had a problem with touching his face, which is unusual because one of the things that I learned during hypnosis is to start by warming up someone's nervous system with doing a bunch of tapping exercise, tapping top of their head, center of
Hmm.
their forehead, corner of their eye. But if the autistic person can't touch his face, you can't help them out with that. So you have to adjust. So you have to adjust to the person you're talking to. And my method of doing it was I had them tap on the breastbone instead, have the collarbone, tap different places on their hands instead because the normal method just didn't work for them.
Yeah, no, I get that completely because you said they don't like touching their face, which
Yeah.
it's sort of nothing any kind of new after doing this show. Enough episodes of this, you hear enough strange things that make a lot of sense. So, when you first started doing your business, though, I mean, it had to be hard for people to take you serious since you're so young. Like you're how young are you, man? Like you're really young. Are you? Am I not correct? Guessing
26.
exactly. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, did people not take you serious at first? They probably looking at you like, yeah, okay, whatever, kid, whatever you say.
Yeah, I have noticed a little bit of that. Just because nobody really takes the youthful appearance seriously. So, that is why I try to show up in a suit, just try to look professional to get people to take me more seriously.
Yeah, yeah, no, I had another guy named Ethan. He was about your age too, and he's an actual hypnotherapist. And I was like, Ethan, man, I gotta ask you, did it take people a lot of time to realize, what you're talking about, even though you're so young, they're just like dismissing you right away, going, well, he's too young, he don't know anything. Did you run into a lot of that in the beginning?
Uh, yeah, I did a few times when people just sort of, it's not overt, I don't take you serious, not specifically saying it, but they're a lot more hesitant to follow the instructions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I could just imagine the look on their face. They're like, "Is this guy serious? Is he really kidding me right
Yeah,
now?"
because
So
one of the things I do is like I just ask people because I do things a little different because I'm talking to people's unconscious minds, their subconscious, not their direct conscious minds,
yeah.
and sometimes it comes across as a little weird to people. So I'm like, why is this young guy asking me those strange questions?
Right,
Yeah,
but you gotta think, a lot of people probably relate to, like, television shows where they see people doing, like, hypnotist type things, what was it? Now You See Me, those that series of movies where, you had the
yeah.
guy that was always hypnotizing people and things like that. That's probably what they're thinking, like, street magic type thing, and you're like, "No, this is actually to help you. There's a whole 'nother thing that we're doing here versus what you think we're doing here," you know?
Yeah, yeah, that myth is everywhere. Everyone thinks it's mind control. Whereas so many people who are just worried that, oh, I'm going to start taking over their minds. Like, no, you can't take over somebody's minds in real life.
Yeah, I see that coming. I see that coming to the conversation, like, "Hey, listen, he's gonna hypnotize me, we start barking like a dog on command," like, I don't think that's what's happening here, but okay." So
Yeah.
let me ask you this though. Why is it so effective though? Like how does it work that like, because you said in 20 minutes after doing a session you had no more anxiety and things like that. So how does that exactly work? Maybe break that down for people so they understand better what exactly it is you're doing.
Well, I think one of the things people need to realize is that something like anxiety, depression, PTSD, it comes from trauma. But because trauma is a word that we hear everywhere. Everyone's heard the word trauma. But I don't think most people don't realize that trauma is just repressed emotions, a whole bunch of pain, anger, guilt, shame that all just got bottled down with that metaphorical bottle, couldn't take enough, and then just went kaboom. So one of the things that hypnosis does is it just helps you to release all that pressure that's been building up, to release all the pain, the anger, the guilt, all of it. And once you've processed all that, all those feelings, all the emotions, well, then there's no anxiety because those dark feelings, those negative feelings, they're what cause the anxiety. They're the foundation it's built on. So you take away the foundation, there's no more building. There's all that anxiety disappears. There's nothing to stand on anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Does it take usually more than one session for most people to see results, or how fast can they expect it? Like if they do a session with you, what would their like outline would be? Is it for people with severe depression or severe anxiety and all those other things? Does it take longer to do more sessions, or how does that all work?
Well, to be honest, it's different for everyone. Some people, I've literally talked people out of their anxiety during the intake form before we actually get to the actual hypnosis process. But then some people, they do take a couple of sessions. One thing I do is I offer free support sessions to people, but I've never had somebody more than 3 sessions.
Oh, okay.
Most sessions, people just need one or two. Some people just need three, but I've never had somebody need four. I mean, eventually probably will, but not yet. Because hypnosis, when you can get straight down to the root of the problem inside the other person's unconscious mind, you can create such massive changes really fast. And I don't think people really understand the power of their mind. Because one of the things hypnosis does is I don't slay the monsters for you. I don't slay your inner demons for you. I show you how to slay them yourself. I help you to come up with the solutions yourself. People, I think everyone, I think we all heard the sort of in movies, the power was within us the whole time. I think that's true. We all have the solutions to problems like anxiety within us. We just don't know where it is, how to find it, how to use it. And that's sort of what my job is, to help people find those solutions to slay their monsters, to help them overcome their anxiety. And sometimes it can be really fast. Sometimes it does take a couple sessions. You never really know.
Yeah, no, I get that completely. I know when it comes to like digging into your subconscious mind, it's a lot. It's a very interesting place to be though. I know me and Betsy Holmberg, we went there with we had a whole lot of conversation about negative self-talk, how it's actually on a lower level in your brain. They discovered it's a whole nother level kind of thing, and it was interesting because she was like, we went over both the ways men and women both interact and things like that. Dude, this conversation went all over the place. And the thing was like, I know nothing about neuroscience and I still kept up this conversation because Betsy broke it down so easy to understand that, that it's all right there in that one area, kind of thing. So what other stuff do you run into? Any interesting stories of like any kind of moments, anything weird things that come out when you go under? Because when you put these people in hypnosis, it's like you can find out some interesting things about them. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can. But I try to keep all my sessions as content free as possible because whatever somebody's issues are, that's their business.
Yeah. No, I get that
I've
respectfully.
heard some, yeah, because I have sometimes people do tell me, even though I try to keep it content free, some horror stories
Yeah.
that just are really horrible tragedies that happen to people that they've been holding on to all their life. So I try to keep as much as away from as much as that as possible because that's their business. If they want to share with me, that's fine. I'll listen, but I try to work as content free as possible.
So, what are the benefits of hypnosis versus traditional therapy, would you say? Like, in your own opinion, because you did both of them, correct? Because you said therapy didn't work for you originally in the beginning, and then you said hypnosis seemed to work for you. So, what do you think is the benefits of it versus therapy in your own opinion? Just curious, since this is working so well for you.
I think it's just that it gets way deeper into the problem a lot faster. Because when I was doing traditional talk therapy, we only kept talking about the problem, but we kept going into the problem, but we never actually went towards solving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I go to so in the hypnotherapy, well, we did talk about the problem. We also moved into solution. It was very interesting. Then the hypnotherapy session, I actually felt the anxiety breaking apart inside my body, but doing the talk therapy, I never felt anything. I never felt any changes. We just kept talking about anxiety, about feelings, about kind of like how to make me feel more loving myself, more accepting myself. But that I didn't feel like that was getting anywhere close to the issue, really.
The great thing though that I do like what you're doing, Lawrence, is that the fact that you're giving people an option. Because I always say that if therapy doesn't work for you, there's so many people like yourself out there doing different things. Like especially what you're doing. Because a lot of people don't like therapy, and the problem is that a lot of times they get in there, they don't take it serious. They're just like, "Well, I don't want to talk about my problems." Then why are you here? Like, what's the point then? But then there's people like you that are coming along doing hypnotherapy with people. Do you get people that are skeptic at all about it a lot of times? They come in and just very skeptic, and at the end they change their mind. They're like, "Oh, never mind. This makes sense. It worked perfectly fine." I'm sure you ran into that a lot because with the stigma of like the television shows and movies and things, you're fighting against that. Like, listen, this is real. This is not a television show. We're not scripting things here. This is actually happening.
Yeah, I've met plenty of people who are just worried about the whole going under part, and I don't really get that. Hypnosis, it's working with someone. You're not controlling them. You're not doing anything to them. You're working with someone. I think a lot of people don't really get that with the stigma from movies.
Yeah, yeah. So what are some people's biggest fears? Would you say that you've heard someone say? I know they're talking about taking over their minds, which we all know
Yeah,
that's not happening. But, I'm sure other
yeah.
people have other worries, like things you may discover down below, deep down in their mind, even though it is a confidential session.
Yeah, I do actually remember there was this one time when I actually went to hypnosis training and it was off up in Dublin, but my mother ended up coming with me because I couldn't drive at the time.
Yeah,
And while she was talking to other hypnotists, she sort of said that she would be terrified of going to hypnosis because she would be revealing all sorts of secrets. And well, that's another big fear people have that, oh, I'm going to share all the dark secrets, all the horrible things that happened to me, all the horrible things I've done. That under hypnosis is going to be this like a truth serum or something.
yeah.
But
No,
peop that's another myth. In fact, people lie more under hypnosis because hypnosis activates their imagination.
yeah. No, Lawrence, I'm about to ask you something here, okay? So have you ever run into anybody with suicidal thoughts?
So one thing I will point out is that on my website there is a bunch of disclaimers of people who I do not work with, and
Okay.
suicidal thoughts is considered a contraindication of hypnosis. So contraindication is, for people who do not know, is when a process that's supposed to be helpful, like hypnotherapy is, may actually be more damaging to a person. And the contraindications for hypnosis are bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and narcolepsy, epilepsy, pathological personality, clinical depression, and suicidal tendencies. So anyone who has suicidal thoughts, it's like, sorry, I'm not going to work with you. Sorry, you'll have to go to somebody else, preferably a hypnotist who is also a medical doctor.
No, I figured I'd ask that question because I'm just like, I'm curious too, because I'm just curious. Have you run into somebody that never told you about that? And then you found out and were like, yeah, we got to end this session now. We can't do that. Has that become an issue yet? Because some
That
people
has
don't like talking about it. That's the reason I asked that. Because, like some people may want to talk about their suicidal thoughts and then maybe hiding it. And then when you dig in their subconscious, you may find that out and be like, ooh, no, I got to pull back out of this thing.
No, the subconscious mind is great at protecting your secrets. So no, nobody's told me that, not yet. I'm sure eventually it'll happen, but if that happens, it'll be I'm not going to work with you anymore.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. Like I said, I just kind of want to cover the topics because I'm just curious, like in case anybody's listening, they could like, all right, well, Lawrence doesn't cover these certain topics. That way, they know they're not reaching out and you're not wasting each other's time, basically, essentially. So, but let's talk about what Lawrence is up to these days, man. What are you up to now, man? Besides, hustling like you're doing, are you got any books planned? Any speeches you're going? Any kind of like TED Talk type things you're doing?
TED Talk type things, not yet. I do have one on a Smart Talk that I wouldn't call it TED Talk, but there is one presentation that I do want to do. That will be in September. There's this peer-to-peer training where a group of hypnotists come together, and I am planning on presenting a talk down there about working with autistic people. So that is one thing I've planned. I do have one book already written, more like a pamphlet. It's like 20 pages long, but you can find it on my website. It's free. You don't need to sign up for anything. It's called the Autistic Introvert's Toolbox, Anxiety Slaying Toolbox for anybody interested. It is a bunch of just a bunch of quick little tools, just in a short little book, just in case anybody has anxiety that's just getting too much. I'm sure it will hopefully bring some relief to them. I do have one more book that's planned called The
Oh,
Labyrinth
okay.
Letters, Tools for Upbringing of Subconscious Mind, which because I run a daily email list, and over the course of running my email list for the past year, I've shared a whole bunch of tools and techniques with people. So I decided to gather them up from the email list, put them up into a book. And that's
That's pretty
one
good.
thing that I do plan on selling in the future.
That's
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But not at the moment. I don't have anything like that planned. Because, to be honest, I found a lot of hypnosis techniques. To be honest, I think the biggest problem a lot of hypnotists have working with autistic people is that we are really analytical, really logical. And when
mm-hmm,
you're working
mm-hmm.
with doing hypnosis, you really want to get into someone to emotions and the feelings, especially the physical sensations of people's bodies. So I think when it comes to hypnosis, working with working with autistic people, the most important thing is to actually just use that analytical ability and to help people analyze their analysis of all those changes starting to happen inside their bodies. Because that will get the autistic person to start going into hypnosis. Because I think autistic people are pretty much in hypnosis all the time. Every human being is in some form of hypnosis all the time.
Why do you feel that though?
Why I feel that everyone's in hypnosis all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you better explain that a little bit more because I'm curious about that, though. Why do you feel that way? Is it just from your experiences of just the things you've gone through to this point that you kind of feel like that's what we're in right now?
Yeah. So basically, I think that everyone is in one trance all the time. That because everything we're doing, it comes from the unconscious mind. It's all a bunch of patterns that are being ran by the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
And I think that all that unconsciously aware. Yeah, but where do your conscious thoughts come from? The unconscious mind. That's where the unconscious. That's where the conscious thoughts come from. Ask somebody. Think of your phone number right now. Where was it before you thought of it? It was in your unconscious mind, and then your unconscious mind put it inside your conscious mind. So I think everybody's unconscious all the time. They just don't realize it. Even me right now.
He's like, I'm here right now, but I'm not here right now. I
Yeah.
checked out. The lights are on, but I know you tell them kind of thing. So, do you have anything planned in the future that's coming up that you want to give anybody an insight to any kind of retreats or sites? I know you said you're talking about getting all the hypnosis guys together and doing one big kind of presentation. Is there anything else that you're offering? Like try maybe say somebody wants to be a wants to be a hypnotherapist, hypnosis any hypnotist, if I could get the words right together today, are you offering ways to train them? Do you offer classes like that? Like, hey, listen, send them to like a little academy style thing. Like you teach them how to do the same thing you're doing. That way you can kind of spread it out a little further to try and reach more people.
So I don't offer any hypnosis trainings myself. If anybody ever asks me if they want where to learn hypnosis, the one person I always recommend Mike Mandel. Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. He has a podcast called the Brain Software Podcast. He does a hypnosis training twice a year in person called
Okay.
The Architecture of Hypnosis. And he does that off in Toronto. And I've been to it about 6 times because I love the energy. I love the environment. I love his community he built. He's considered one of the best trainers. And I genuinely believe that I've worked with a lot of other hypnotists. And other people I recommend would be Carl Smith off in the United Kingdom, Freddie Tracken also in the United Kingdom. Sometimes they do hypnosis trainings over in Dublin in Ireland, which is where I am, and that's where I trained with both of them. But I went off to Canada, trained with Mike Mandel. So those would be the 3 hypnosis trainings I would recommend for anybody who was interested in learning hypnosis. And I should also point out, I'm not an affiliate of any of them, so I wouldn't receive a cent or anything.
Listen, guys, you start paying him. He's plugging you for free over here. Come
They
on
should,
now.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he said. All right, so I'm at the part of the interview now where we're going to ask you a question, change up things a little bit here. So I ask all my guests the following question, okay? So my question to you, Lawrence, is that if your mental health had a song, what would you say that song would be? It's a real good one, too, by the way. Everybody loves this question.
Oh, yeah, I can see why, 'cause it's definitely got me thinking about what it could possibly be. There is one song coming to mind. It's
Hmm.
called Hologram. It was actually an opening song for the anime series Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, yes. There we go. All right, now we're talking anime. All right, Lawrence, let's talk. Let's venture down anime for a little bit, Lawrence, since
Sure.
this is my show. We're going to talk about it. So, what are your top 5 animes? Just because we're going to get to know you a little better here. We're gonna dig deep into who
Okay.
Lawrence is. Anime is my alley, my man. We are talking my language here. So, lay it on me. I know Full Metal Alchemist is one of them. Got to be.
Full Metal Alchemist, yeah. Ooh, what would also be my top favorites? Vinland Saga, no Yaiba, also known as Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, and for number 5, ooh, who do I pick for number 5? Because I'm afraid I don't watch that much anime. I watched some of the really big ones. I'm pulling a blank here.
That's still a good
Pokemon,
list.
that technically that was an anime, right?
Pokemon.
Right, yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh
I
is
want to
actually
watch that.
considered an anime too, because actually the manga book is different than the series. The original series, if you were reading the books, Yu-Gi was actually the aggressor out of everybody. The pharaoh was actually evil. He would do like tricks to people and things like that, take him to the shadow. In the series, he's portrayed as, oh,
Really?
he's the hero. Yeah, yeah. That was interesting when I started
Only
seeing
ever
that.
watched I only ever watched the series, so I
Well,
didn't know
because they
that.
had the Shonen had a book series where Naruto was. They were at. The other one of my favorite all time is Trigon. If you've ever seen it, it's really great. It was in there. It's about a guy who's a humanoid, but doesn't realize he's actually a plant. So he's a weaponized plant, actually. So like he doesn't realize it in the beginning. He's real funny at first and everything else. And then as it goes, it gets serious. Well, what would happen in the book is that Shonen had canceled the magazine they were putting the book in. The whole series, and so the end of it had to be rushed a little bit. So, like as you go through, you see him start progressing through and realizing he can't die for whatever reason. So he can't die. He's wanted for all this money, doesn't realize why he's wanted because he doesn't remember the sequence of events. So what happens is he has this gun with him, and it's not a usual gun because like a lot of people mention it through the series, like, damn, this is a heavier gun than before, How are you carrying this thing? So it turns out that the gun he has in his hand is actually a weapon. So his brother, his evil side, because it's like a battle of good and evil, basically. So the brother's
Yeah,
evil and he's the good side of it. So when they meet up again, he turns into a weapon, and so does his brother. His arm will actually, the gun will transform. It's a key piece to transform. So, like, you see it near the end of the show. His brother forces him to use it, and then he realizes that he's really not human anymore because he has like guns popping out of his wrist, and all this other crazy stuff starts happening. And he's like, just doesn't make sense. And everybody around him starts dying off and things like that, too. So, like, it starts getting aggressive. And then this antagonist shows up, Legato, and he's working for his brother. That constantly shows up and is just pushing him to do these like crazier things.
yeah,
But yeah, but Full Metal Alchemist is good. Attack on Titan to me, it was good too. I think the second season dragged down a little bit, but it get crazier as it goes. My personals were like, Trigon was one for me. Dragon Ball Z has also had a whole full time heart for me, man. I loved it. We went after school. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty good. If you could skip the Dragon Ball series, really, if you don't care about the whole backstory of Goku, but if you watch that, it's Goku's backstory, and then the Z is like the formation of the team, and you see like all his like a lot more about him and everybody else is going. Now, when you get to Super, Super's like, well, what happens when the universes all meet together? You find out that everybody's in a parallel universe. The whole different dimension thing from like DC and Marvel and all that kind of stuff. Like there's other Earths, like Earth 3, Earth 2, kind of similar idea of that concept, and things like that too. So, um, I mean, there's a lot out there to watch, man. Honestly, like I watched Jujutsu Kaisen. Uh, Demon Slayer was one that I put off for a long time, but I'm surprised I did though because after season 1, I was like, season 2 just we took off, and then as soon as you
oh,
hit
yeah.
the Sword Village arc, I was like, "That's it, dude. I'm hooked." Like it was intense because the whole thing, going on like that too. So, do you find like animes your like your way of self care? Is that kind of something what you do, or do you like watch movies? Do you read books? What kind of stuff does Lawrence do for like self care?
For self I'm not sure I'd call it self-care, I just like just my just for entertainment, really. I like to watch it, especially when I'm like having dinner or just I have nothing else to do. Like, oh, let's go watch an anime. And so I'm not sure if you consider that self care. Then I
Yeah.
guess it
Yeah,
is.
self-care pretty much is anything you do that just relaxes you, you know, like you're like you're having a rough day, you're like, "All right, well, I just need to unwind," and that's just something you do, like you watch a movie. Some people read books, you know, like for me, I watch a lot of movies. That's my go-to comfort zone. Like I'm comfort though, you know, if I'm having a long day and I'm just like, you know, blah blah, I'm just like I just need to unwind and forget about the world. I'll turn on like Seinfeld's one of my favorite shows. I'll sit there and watch it. It's a show about absolutely nothing, Lawrence. Like I don't know if you've ever seen it. You're in Ireland, so you've probably never seen this, but it's literally a show about absolute nothing, man. It's literally what it is. It's got no point of the show. It's just like people, a group of friends living their life, and it's weird incidents happen in the process. You know, you're like, yeah, guy, that sounds great. But, you know, it's just like, it's because you don't even have to think about it. You're just watching it. And, you know, they run into these like oddball situations, and all the characters are really weird, you know, and things like that too, you know. But that's pretty much what self care is. It's like anything that you do to just kind of like, you know, whatever you want to do just for Lawrence, you know, like you're busy doing all your stuff. It's like, what are you doing for Lawrence? You know, you're watching movies, you're going out enjoying enjoying the nice weather because I've never been to Ireland, man. I'd love to go visit sometimes. It's got to be amazing over there. But I've got to say, my sister went and said the views were amazing. She loved it. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go just because I have friends that live over there too, you know, and things like that as well. I want to go visit and things like that. You know, I want to do more traveling this year. And it's been great because I've been doing the show for about a year and a half now, man. I get to meet interesting people like yourselves from all over the world, man, you know, and things like that too. So I'm going to lead you into the next question, okay? And this is a really important one, okay? The reason I started this whole podcast. So here it goes. Lawrence, if you could break the stigma about mental health, okay? So when I say this, anything you see, man, I don't know how much you use the internet and things like that too, social media, all these things. Is there anything out there you see that you just want people to stop believing that you're just like, man, can y'all just stop buying into this crap? It's just, you know, anything you feel that falls in that category, what would you say that would be?
The idea that you can't heal, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like, speaking of going back to anime, I was like, there's actually this webtoon that I was enjoying reading recently called Unordinary. And I remember in one of the recent episodes, well, one of the characters has unfortunately had a run in with a mentalist. He
Mhm.
went to prison, a mentalist started messing with his mind, and he got pretty much got flashbacks, got PTSD from it. And one of the characters said to him, listen, you're not going to get you're not going to get healed. I won't sugarcoat this for you. You're not healing. You're just going to cope with it forever. And it's like, no, you can heal. You can heal. Tra- like I said before, trauma is a repressed emotions. You release the emotions. You can heal. It's actually kind of easy. I know that's probably difficult for most people to hear, especially if they had it for years. Thought to hear that would be easy. Only but trauma, you can heal to just release all those pent up emotions, all the negativity, all the fear and horror and pain that have been balled down since the day you were born, to get all of them out of your system. And suddenly everything can change and you can feel more confident, feel better. It's like having a big, massive reset where suddenly you're the best version of yourself because there's no more of that evil gunk inside your head. Yeah, you can heal. You can definitely heal. And I think it can be fast. I don't think you have don't think you have to have anxiety for the rest of your life. I don't believe in that anymore.
Right, right. So, Lawrence, as we start getting ready to wrap up here, man, do you want to go ahead and plug where everybody can find you? I know you're on TikTok, X, and YouTube. Are we missing any other place that you're at? Because I followed you in every single one. Because I'm big on TikTok. I have a lot of things I do in TikTok. So obviously, I'll be tagging you when we get ready to release this episode and things like that too. Did you want to plug any place else? Anybody can find you anywhere they can find. Say, like, listen, what's the best place for us to find Lawrence? Where do you want him to go, man? Tell them.
Best place, my website, lawrencebartley.com. Just my name.com, LAWRENCEBERTLEY.com. Like I said before, I have an email list. It's a daily email list every day. Tips, checks, brain hacks that I send out to people. Well, sometimes really weird stories about my life that usually lead into some lesson about anxiety or whatnot. But that would definitely be the best place to go and contact me, would be to sign up to my email list, to go onto my website. There's also a contact me page on the website for anybody who does have any questions. Well, like you said, also X at law_Bartley, TikTok at law_Bartley, YouTube also at
You
law_Bartley.
gotta plug those, man. You
Yeah,
gotta plug those for sure
yeah.
because people like to watch you everywhere they can find you, man. Like they want to know what Lawrence is up to. So, We'll be looking out for some TikTok videos. We're gonna see some of those dances, Lawrence. I'll be watching for them. Okay, man. I'll be tagging you some challenges, Lawrence. I need you to do
Sure.
this for you. You're like, hell no, guy.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, I'll dance for you right now.
He's like,
Yeah,
you out dancing
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. That'll make you happy. Are you
I
happy
love it,
now?
man.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
So, Lawrence, let me ask you really fast so before I wrap up this episode, man. Hey, listen. So on TikTok, are you big in any? Are you doing like live streams and things like that on there by chance? Is educating more people on what you're doing? Do you have any plans of doing that kind of stuff? Because there is an untapped market on there, man, that you don't realize. A lot of people are into mental health on there, man, and you never know. You could find them. There's a lot of people I know that have find really great success. There's a sober coach on there who he runs his lives all the time. It's all about being consistent though. First off, I can tell you that much. So figure out what's the best time for you. Just go on there and just educate people, man. You ever consider that? Just going to like, hey, let them know this is what I do and answer their questions, trying to debunk as many people as anything as you can, because you're probably going to get weird questions, and then that way you can help people feel a little bit better about what it is you're doing.
Yeah, I have thought about live streaming. I haven't done it yet, but I've certainly been thinking about it. I know a lot of people recommend it. I see a lot of other hypnotists doing it. I guess I just haven't actually just done it yet.
Come on, Lawrence, you're young enough. You should know how these things work, man. You're like, yeah, but I don't have time, Pete. I'm busy. No, but I'm serious, man. You should consider it though. Think about it this way. I think it'll be an easier way to get out there and debunk a lot of these things people think about what you're doing, and then you could tell them more about what you're doing, and things like that too, and answer a lot of questions. It could, because you don't have to have other people in your boxes, or you can invite people to come be a guest, and just answer their questions. Like, hey, you guys, any questions, things like that. Expand your reach further, because there's a whole untapped market on TikTok. I think people sleep on that. Now, a lot of people are big into mental health, man. I found a lot of advocates on there. Actually, this season alone, I've got 3 or 4 of them I've gotten from TikTok with different people that do different things, and like different therapists that are on there and stuff like that too. It's something you may want to consider just to expand your reach a little further. Let people know what you're doing out there. Like, hey, I got some new event, something new coming up. I'm doing like a big talk somewhere. Here's where I'm going to be. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like give people a little more information about what it is you're actually doing. And probably, you never know. You may hit an untapped market of people down there that are all for you, the community that you're in, and be like, oh, hell yeah. Okay, here we go. This is where Lawrence is at. And you don't have to do it every single day. If you want to, you can. Like there's a guy, like I said, Lauren, that's what Austin does. He sits on there and he's a sober coach, and he sits there and goes through and talks to all these people and things like that. At first it's a little slow, but then it's like, you just be prepared to answer people's questions about what you're doing and things like that too. Tell them, maybe give them some tips. Hey, here's some free tips. You can find the rest on my website. Plug all that stuff, man. Because TikTok, like I said, is an untapped market. I think for a lot of people don't realize. I know people cringe hearing the name that words, but I think people are sleeping on the advantages of what you can do with digital marketing these days with people, especially reaching a broader base of people as well. And you can send them all to your site. Hey, listen, go to, plug your website the whole time. Hey, listen, there's where you go to find all your information. You want to book a session with me? This is where you go. And just go from there and just kind of work on like different things like that, man. What do you think? You think it may be a great idea?
Yeah, I do think it's a great idea. Now, the reason I haven't actually started live streaming yet, and this is the one thing holding back, is I've never liked talking to a camera and just there's nobody else around. So that was it. That's the reason I never like making videos. I don't mind posting on X. I don't mind writing articles and
Yeah.
blog posts and emails.
I think it's more the comfortability thing, man. Trust me. At first, when I started doing this podcast, at first it was hard for me, and now I can talk to anybody. But I've also had a history of waiting tables, so I'm used to talking to people and random people. You know what I mean? So I could start a conversation with anybody, Lawrence. Like I'm doing this. I've had done like over 300 interviews now of this show alone of just different people I've met, like yourself, and things like that. It gets easier, I promise, as you go. But I'm just saying, man, don't sleep on the opportunity that is TikTok and all these other things to do these different things or post videos like that, because there's so many different things you can use to post for you and things like that too, that all you got to do is just get all a bunch of the videos together, boom, 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 and just keep yourself relevant just by posting constantly. And it doesn't even have to be long videos, just different things about what you're working on. Hey, my name's Lawrence Bartley. This is what I'm doing. And then just run down the list of things really quick of what you're doing, and then plug your website in the comment section. Okay, here it is, and then you'll have to learn like hashtags and stuff like that. But you're a smart guy. You'll figure all that out too as you go. Like the hashtag things, I'd give yourself more visible. I'd love to see you do more things, man. I want to see where you're at in 10 years and be like, listen, Lawrence was on my show. And if I'm still recording this show, I am inviting you to come back here and we're going to talk about and see what you've been doing for the last 10 years, because I follow you on TikTok now. So I'm live all the time doing different things and stuff like that as well, too. And all that kind of stuff. So like, I want to keep checking back in and see what you're doing, man. Cause I think you're real young. You got a future just like Ethan, man. Like I said, I was interested to see what he's up to too. You know, I told him the same thing, brother. In 10 years, if I'm still recording some form of a show that's mental health wise, I am reaching out to you guys, and you guys are coming back, and we're going to talk about what you're up to now and see what things you've done because you guys are the future of things. You guys are young now. Things are going to change by the time that you're my age because I'm 40 now. Okay. So in 13 years, things are going to change to something totally different than what you're doing now. And you could have all these other advancements, all these cool things you can do. I want to see what you're going to do, man, because you guys are the future. You and Ethan are two of the youngest guys I've had on the show that are doing great things in their own respective areas. Like I said, Ethan's a hypnotherapist. You're a hypnotist. You know what I'm saying? You guys are in the same area, which is going to be interesting to see which way you guys go from there. Especially as a fact you're covering neurodivergent individuals because that is an untapped market. Because a lot of people, like I said in the beginning, they don't know how to interact with them. So, anyways, Lawrence, with that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode of Pete versus Anxiety. Lawrence, thank you for coming and hang out with me, man. Like I said, I enjoyed meeting you and everything like that, too. I look forward to the future to see what you're up to.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Peace.
Always, man. Always. Listen, Lawrence. Like I said, 13 years, I'm calling you. 10 to 13 years, we're calling you. We're gonna have you come back here. We're gonna be like,
Okay,
Lawrence, what are you
sure.
up to, man? Let's go. Lawrence is like, I'm down. Let's do it. All right, guys. With that being said, we're gonna let Lawrence go today for this episode of Pete for Anxiety. I'm Pete for Anxiety. I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. I'm on Spotify all the way down to iHeartRadio, guys. And as always, say it costs nothing absolutely to be kind to somebody. One kind act you can do can save someone's life. Or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete for Anxiety. Sign off saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health? There we go.